I'm always listening here at JTV and always keeping my eyes open for new projects. A couple months ago, I was doing a presentation at the Dillon Floral Company in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania, and a JTV subscriber showed up to my show with a fashionable floral ring just for me. It made me feel so special, and the attention that it got that night made me believe we needed to show how to make this on JTV. The attention that these little gems can grab for anyone who loves flowers is perfect. And the secrets that you'll learn today on JTV will have you making floral jewelry just like a pro. So let's get started with this week's project. To create the fashionable flower ring, one of the first things we need to remember is it takes practice and patience to go through the process. We'll start today showing you exactly how to do it, and you're going to be able to practice it and add your own creativity to what you see. The basis for our ring is actually made out of aluminum wire. This is what our finished product is going to look like. We have two different types of wire. One is aluminum, the other one is a thinner, finer wire. We can use several different types of wire to create the backing at the top, but the ring itself is generally best made out of the aluminum wire. We can take any color that we'd like. In this case, we're using the apple green. We're going to start by leaving about 1.5 inches to 2 inches and wrapping that around our finger. Many craft stores sell a ring sizing utensil that's made for creating jewelry. So you're able to slip this ring over that and determine how big the ring itself needs to be. If you don't have access to that, you'll have to have your client come in so that you can get a proper measurement. In this case, we'll make it to fit on this finger for me. So that's how big I want that ring to be. I'm just going to repeat that shape by wrapping the aluminum wire around 3 times. Then we'll cut that off, leaving the same amount of wire on both sides. That's the basis for the ring itself. Let's do it one more time with a different color. The great hot pink aluminum wire is available from Berwick Ribbon. So we'll start with 1 to 2 inches, and we'll wrap that around in a circle. Just continuing to follow that circle for 3 revolutions. And cutting that off. We can go back and take a little bit of time to shape it if we want to. There are all sorts of different wires available now because of jewelry making being so popular. I like to use the aluminum wire. It comes in great colors and it's really sturdy and pliable. The next part is creating the backing. In this case, I've created one with the silver bullion on top and the aluminum backing on the back side. In this case, I used the light pink, and we have the hot pink to form the ring on the back side. Working with our bullion wire, we simply take 2 fingers and wrap the bullion around those 2 fingers. I'm going to do it anywhere from 14 to 24 times, depending upon how big I want that backing to be. Then we slide that off our fingers. Notice that it's formed an oval shape. We pinch that oval together in the middle. and continue to wrap with the bullion wire. This is one entire piece of wire, all creating this back little bow tie shape. That's the key to making sure this works correctly. If we wanted to make it in a larger size, or with a finer wire, I'll use the orange wire from Parawire. I can wrap it around 3 fingers rather than 2. And again, 14 to 24 times around. The finer your wire, the more times you may have to go around your fingers. This is an extremely delicate wire, so I may do a few more rounds around my fingers. When it looks like it's a sufficient amount, we'll take it and slip it off our fingers. Again, we have our oval shape, and we pinch that oval together and bind off the center point. I always think about this as being a bow tie. That's a great way for us to visually see what we're going to create. That bow tie then will sit on top of our ring form. And we wrap our aluminum wire tightly around one side of the bow tie. We repeat that same method on the other side. Wrapping it very tightly and securing that bow tie in place. These 2 wires hold that bow tie securely. Let's look at it one more time with the pink one. Laying that on top of the ring itself and wrapping our extension around one side of the bow tie and then around the other side. The challenge then is for us to spread out our bow tie so that it starts to look like a flower. That will also ensure that it won't slip away from either side, holding it in place. Now's a great time for us to talk about our JTV trick of the week. When we have certain projects, the success of that project depends on using the proper tools. In this case, I invested in a Parawire toolkit. It's a great little kit that has all the different tools that I need to help ensure that this will look professional when I'm finished. This special tool is a pliers that has a cone-shaped, smooth pair of pinchers so that I can grab this and not mar my wire at all. It allows me to curl this wire in a very, very professional manner. We'll do the same thing on the other side, just grabbing the end and slowly curling that around into a loop. Those 2 loops sit underneath and will help support the flower itself. Let's do it one more time with our orange and green.
Pull up just a little bit, you guys. I'm missing it just a little bit. There you go.
It's easier to open up the flower when the bow tie is a little bit bigger. The problem with that is it's not as delicate of a ring. This is great though if we were working with one where we might want to hold an entire gerbera or a large-sized rose. where the smaller sizes are a little bit more equipped for orchids or tiny button pom-poms. Again, we'll take our parawire tool and create that very professional ring. Grabbing it and twisting it around. We can make these armatures up a long time in advance, so we have different examples that we might want to show people, or if we have special outfits that we want them to go with. It's as simple as gluing in the flower we like whenever we're ready to go. The flower placement is the next part of our creative process. In this case, let's use one of these beautiful little tiny orchids from Amy's Orchids. Those are great sizes. I can use two together, and in this case, I think that might work really well. We have our form all splayed out. I like the fact that I've used the Bullion wire because there's a stronger texture to the Bullion wire that allows the flowers to adhere better. In this case, we're going to apply the flowers with Oasis Cold Adhesive. Remember, we always use cold adhesive when we're working with fresh flowers. We never use hot glue. Anytime a fresh flower gets above 120 degrees, botrytis can set in and not allow our flower to last as long. So the cold glue is ideal for this situation. The secret behind placing any flower into the ring itself is to cut the stem off the back completely. We'll use our sharp Swiss Army knife to cut that stem off right at the point where it meets the flower. Let's look at that one more time. Cutting it off right there next to the flower itself. If we're working with a button pom-pom, we want to make sure that all of that stem has been removed on the back side. Or say we're working with a rose. In this case, this is one of the new spray roses from Euphoria Flowers. I'll remove the calyx off of the back of the rose itself. That's just material that would dry and pull moisture away from the rose itself. I'll take my Swiss Army knife and cut that off right there. It's perfectly flat now and makes a great area for me to apply directly into the middle of the ring itself. Or we might use a Germini. In that case, we cut off that stem flush right at the back of the flower. Say we were going to use a rose bud. Again, just cutting that off flush so that it will sit flat in the middle of the ring itself. Our first step is to apply a little bit of the glue to the backing we created. Because the glue acts like a rubber cement, we want to put it on this surface and also the surface of the flowers. Apply a little bit to the back of the larger orchid and one to the back of the smaller orchid. Then we take the big orchid and place it on the ring. That still leaves this little area exposed over here, and we can bring that second blossom right in there nice and tight.
Okay.
Let's take a look at a couple more. We'll use this one, a little bit of the glue again to the back itself, and then glue to the back of our flower. You'll notice that we could set this up as an assembly line. by applying glue to all the different products that we're going to use. It's great to give the glue the opportunity to dry for a few minutes before we place it directly into the ring itself. A little bit of glue on the backing. Again, a little glue on the backing. It's important that we get enough glue to adhere both the flower and the ring together. If we have any issues with something falling off, it would be because we didn't use enough glue. Plenty of glue is always a good idea. So now we take our pom-pom and apply it directly into the center of our ring. Or we take our spray rose and apply it directly into the center of our ring. Because the glue's like rubber cement, it adheres to the other glue area very well. That's the key to letting it dry just a little bit before we put them together. We can also take our backing and form it to hold the flower even more tightly. That's the great part about working with wire, because now we've almost created our own calyx right around the outside of that Gerber daisy. Our finishing touch for our floral rings will be adding a little bit of bling to the center of each one. I'll use my Nip-X to trim off the end of this pin. I hold on to both ends at the same time and clip that. That way, this pin doesn't go flying off across the room. Adding a little bit of glue to the stem itself, and that can go directly into the center of the flower. The Lomi gems look great. Although they're a plastic gem themselves, they look as if they're an actual diamond. In this case, we'll place that in the center of our rose. Again, holding both ends and trimming that. Placing the glue on the end and then into the center of our flower. We can also use the small sequin sprays. In this case, we'll add that spray off to the side of our orchids, extending the bling around the outside of the orchids themselves. The detail on these takes a little bit of time, but that's what makes each individual creation extra special. And let's add this pink gem to our Gerber daisy. The final step for all of our fresh flower fashions is to use Crowning Glory. Simply taking our product and spraying it front and back with the clear Crowning Glory. That seals the molecular structure of the flower and allows them to last 26% longer. Because it's clear, it's not going to change the shininess of any of the bling that we used. Making sure we coat it front and back is extremely important so that the entire flower is sealed with the clear crowning glory. What a great fun way for us to add flowers as a fashionable fun accessory for kids going to any special event. I love the fact that you watch JTV every week to find out the newest trends in floral design. But it's important for us to keep our eyes open. There are trends around us all the time emerging in the marketplace. When we introduced the new Prom and Homecoming book from John Henry, we knew that it was filled with ideas that had the possibility to become emerging trends that kids would notice. And that's exactly what's happened with that product. We're able to create things that our parents never would have thought of, or my grandparents never would have even dreamed of. But these fashionable things happen in today's marketplace. This week, our special thanks go out to you, the JTV subscribers, for suggesting this great webisode. And also to our friends in Pennsylvania who brought the Fashionable Flower Ring to my show at the Dillon Floral Company. Next week, I'm going to Paramus, New Jersey and Hillcrest Farms. Until next week, keep having fun with flowers.